To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So we're being forced to stop building on our tiny house. But before I get into that, I'd like to take you through all the things that we've done to it before we have to stop. That's the structure that we've been working on since March of last year. When we bought the property, we bought it in January. Well, I say last year, I meant this year. We moved onto the property in March. We bought it in January, bought the property in January, $4,200, paid cash for it. Met the guy at the title company. We got through the winter, and what we had to do was we had to buy supplies to get moved on. We had to buy solar panels, and we had to buy a well pump, and just a bunch of stuff. So from January to March, we were parked at my mom's house, was living in our truck camper, that right there. And so in March, we came down, we spent about a week getting where we could live here. We got the camper off the truck, installed a well pump, we got the IBC tank, got the solar panels set up. I would say by April timeframe, we started working on the tiny house. Now, it's been a long process. There was a lot to do, a lot to buy, lots of things that needed to be done. But there was an old mobile home trailer sitting here, and it went from where you saw the tiny house, it went all the way back to that wood line there. The mobile home was just falling apart. The front half of it was pretty much disassembled already. What they did was they just kind of rolled the metal roofing right off onto the ground here. This was all covered up in metal roofing. It was a real mess. The back half still needed to be tore down, but then that being said, it was so unsafe to walk in there, you couldn't walk on the floor. That I was having to do everything from outside, and I was using 2x4s to knock boards down so it would fall down. Then I had to cut up all the metal. We stacked it up over there. We finally got rid of that just not that long ago. My friend Martin bought me a reciprocating saw, and I was able to cut the trailer frame from over there to right here. And the reason we did that, the trailer was too close to the property line. In 2004, they changed the law, so you had to be so many feet from the property line, which was fine because we had no intention of actually ever using all of the trailer anyways. It was just going to hang out there. It wasn't going to be very sightly. It would look like this, except all the way back. Now this is where the porch is going to be. And so now we have these little metal beams that we use for everything. Stack wood on. I was going to recycle them, but they've come in handy for a lot of things. When I got to tearing into it, there was a lot of the 2x4s that were still in pretty good shape. This board here came off the floor of the trailer. Instead of having to buy 2x4s for our floor, we were able to recycle the 2x4s that came off the floor of the trailer. So we really did exactly what the trailer manufacturer did. Now we did go ahead and install a center beam here that the trailer manufacturer didn't have. So you can see that this is a board that came right off the trailer. Really good shape. Now we have two steel beams that it sits on. So there's a steel beam here. So that board sits there. We got a double 2x6 that sits on the steel frame. And then it gets extended out to these wings here. That's all on steel. Then I insulated under here. Got a lot of terrible complaints about the insulation. Oh, the animals are going to get into it. But here you can see we have insulation up underneath on the floor. A lot of folks are concerned about the rodents on that. The rodents aren't a big deal. We put cayenne pepper in a bottle, spray bottle, put water in it, cayenne pepper, shake it up, and you spray it around, and it keeps the rodents out. I mean, they don't want that stuff in their eyes and their mouth and all that. It's really worked. Nothing has been underneath here. You can tell, and they stay away from underneath there. And the other thing you have to understand is the trailer manufacturer did the same thing. So it's not like I've done anything different than the trailer manufacturer. And then I put the plywood down on the floor, and then I paused for a while. The reason is because we were only going to spend $500 a month on materials. Well, while we were doing that, Carolyn was on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace finding some really good deals on things that we weren't really ready for yet. So for example, instead of building a wall, she would find windows. And she found 3 windows, all 3 of these windows here, and a door right here. And I think everything was $40 a piece, except this window here. I think that one was $80. And I still got the sticker on it to prove that it's a new window. The guy bought it and didn't like it, so he sold it. I don't remember what he paid for it. I think it was like $200, and we got it for 80 bucks. Beautiful view of the woods. This morning, the deer were right by this tree, so when I came out of the camper, they were eating. Now, I didn't see them because the camper windows are so small. If we'd have been up here, I could have looked out the window and saw those 3 deer just sitting here eating the grass. Now, that's the life. We were buying it, but we were only spending $500 a month. That meant we couldn't progress on the bill because we were buying it for other things that we were going to need in the future. Well, eventually we got to a point where we could start buying 2x6s. So I built this wall first, then this wall, and then we had enough money to build the other 2 walls. So we got them lifted up, and I started assembling the walls, or the frame. After that, things progressed very nicely, and I've been building on it ever since. I think I took a 1 or 2 week intermission in between having the walls and the roof and everything done and buying the metal siding and the roofing material. After I got the walls done, I built my own trusses. I would take you up in the attic, but it's so dark up there you wouldn't really get to see it. I built 9 of them. I bought a design for trusses online. Made that out of 2x4s, and they're spaced out every 2 feet apart. So now we have a loft up there. And so what I did there was I built the first one, got it perfect, and then I laid it down on the floor here. There's still markings on the floor. And I traced it out, the entire truss. Took it apart, set all the pieces over here, and then every truss I built after that, I would use the original piece, trace the piece that it was made from the first one, put it in my jig, because I put screws in the floor so that it was a jig, so it held the truss. And every truss was identical, or it wouldn't fit in the jig from the first truss. And again, once that was done, I mean, we were just on the move. Every day I was working on the house. Got the OSB up on the roof. Now remember, I can only work about 3 hours a day because I still have a job I have to attend to every day. 7 to about 10 is what I work. Most of the time I'm late for work. I work online. I do my own business. But that means I just got to work later in the evening. And then Carolyn found this pallet wood. And this has been her project right here, this pallet wood. It's absolutely beautiful. It's heat-treated pallet wood that she found from a guy who disassembles it. That's what he does for a business. You pull up in his business. He's got a big garage and a trailer mobile home that he lives in right next to it. And it's just filled with these pallets. So he goes around, collects these pallets up, takes them apart, makes sure they're clean and in good shape. And he sells them really cheap. So we got 500 pieces of pallet wood for $200. And then he sold me some 1x4s that I could use the siding on, so I had something to screw into. And Carolyn spent, I don't know, maybe a week or maybe 2. I don't know. I don't think it was 2. But she really got this done in a big old hurry. I was really impressed with it. And then we'll put that silver metal behind the wood stove. Although we don't need to do it. We're in complete compliance with the manufacturer instructions and the codes and all that. We're far enough away from the wall that we don't have to, but we're going to do it anyways. And then the next project would have been the back porch. So the reason that we're being forced to quit building the tiny house is because, ta-da, it's finished. The tiny house is done. Now, I recognize there's still things that need to be done, but the actual structure is done. We could actually move in if we wanted to. It's beautiful too. It's just every direction I look at it like, wow, that's neat. I mean, there's still things that I need to do to it. I mean, I want to put some trim on and different things. So the next thing I'm going to do, so this is Saturday. On Tuesday, I'm going to buy pressure treated 2x6s. I'm going to build the back porch deck. I'm not going to build the roof yet, just the deck. And we're going to buy a shower. Get the shower installed. Carolyn can start putting down the floor. She wants to put down the floor that we got from a neighbor. It was all free. And the reason I think we need to get the porch on is this is just too hard to get over every day. The other day I smacked my knee on this hard, and boy, that hurt. bad. But the only reason we're not moving in right now is it is winter time. It's late December. And as you can see, I have a wood stove, but the wood stove requires cured wood. It needs to be cured for a year. The moisture content inside the wood needs to be 20% or less. I got some wood that is under that, but it's like I have to test every piece to make sure. But the majority of it is still fairly moist inside. So we can't use the wood stove is where I'm getting at. Now I know somebody's gonna say, well, get a propane heater. Well, that's just another expense on something that we don't really want anyways. And then we can continue on schedule, which has been that we will move in this spring. This is what I wanted to get done by February, and it's done. But we can move in. I'm very excited. I hope I can inspire you to build your dream. Thanks for watching.